Hi there and welcome to my final for TESP 302. It is the Media Clip Project. My name is Larry Gazaway and we have a lot of material to cover in just a short amount of time. I don't want to appear hurried, but we've got a lot of things to talk about when we talk about the exceptionalities that we have studied this semester in this class. Let's talk first about learning disabilities, characteristics socially. These students will misinterpret cues when it comes to social cues, gesture, verbal cues. On a cognitive level, there's really not a typical student that we can point a finger at. These students will usually have average or above average intelligence. And when it comes to academic characteristics, there are 2.3 million students. 70% of them will spend over 80% of their time in the classroom. One thing I thought was interesting, 19% of these students will drop out. When it comes to the application of a UDL for these students, engagement, we will let the students choose their stories when they're trying to develop their reading skills. Scaffolding, vitally important in this. Use organizers when you're dealing with these students. Let them keep their thoughts where they need to be, where they can go back and check those out, and the types of curriculum that you're able to use. Differentiated instruction is a must when it comes to representation, and we can express content evaluation through verbal response, written response, or CBM when it comes to identifying the skills that the student has mastered. Speech and language disorders, that came up next. The student, when we take a look at the social characteristics, will tend to remain alone and use incomplete sentences because of their disorder, and they'll try to avoid peer interaction as well. They will not participate in that. On a cognitive level, they will use incomplete sentence verbally and when writing, and they will try to avoid writing tasks as well. Academically, 78% of these students will spend 80% of their time in the classroom. Remember that they will not participate in large group settings, and it takes time for them to compose a response. Things we want to use when it comes to the application of the UDL. When it comes to the engagement, use technology. We're going to use technology as much as we can for every single learning disability that we have. Let the student have multiple choice response options, multiple choice tests, multiple choice homeworks, true, false. Write the questions on the board. This way that allows the response time for the children to be elongated. And put them in small groups. Let them work in small groups. When it comes to representation, provide visual and verbal models, modeling back to the child how they should be speaking, and continue to provide writing opportunities. When it comes to action and expression, focus on modeling and contrast, and ask open-ended questions and adult expansions of what the student is trying to communicate. Next up, emotional or behavioral disorders, those are characteristics from a social standpoint. 5.7 of all students will spend less than 50% of the time in the classroom. This student may use inappropriate language, may become physical and withdrawn and sullen as well. On a cognitive level, they have a normal IQ, but they do have significant challenges that we need to face. On an academic level, failing grades and no hope. That may be what they see on the horizon for them as they come through your classroom. The application of the UDL for engagement, look at the student's strengths. What are they? And then use cooperative activities with peers so they can share those strengths. Representation, get people involved. Now, who needs to be involved with this? The school psychologist, the counselor, social worker. Get their professional opinion, get their assistance. And use Mindful Education program from David Reitshaven. I had to write his name down. This involves the five types of mindful literacies: physical, mental, emotional, social, and global. Remember, when you're dealing with these students, stay in the moment, be non-judgmental, and stay calm when you're dealing with them. ADHD, this is attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. We did a long presentation on this during the year, so I'll touch briefly on this. Affects about 10% of the children on a social level. They have no concept of time, late to school, late on their assignments. On a cognitive level, inattentive, withdrawn, forgetful, daydreaming, lethargic, all those things. And remember, you could see things like on an academic level, no motivation, and they may lay their head down on their desk and fall asleep after lunch. Things I think we've all done from time to time. The application of the UDL when it comes to ADHD or let's try that again. ADHD, remember, cut the assignment up into smaller parts. Let them digest that a little bit at a time so they've got some time to get up and move around. Adjust the assignment length and confirm that the student understands the directions and the assignment. For representation, you can provide Tier 2 or Tier 3 interventions when appropriate. And remember that action and expression will be to teach the school material organization, homework management, time management, those management skills, oh so important as we prepare the student not only to master the curriculum that we have, but we also want them to be prepared to step out into the real world. When it comes to intellectual disabilities, the characteristics on a social level, now the majority of these kids will spend less than 40% of their time in your classroom. They can appear shy and have a lack of social skills. Also remember, on the cognitive level, they could lack interest and could express boredom. And then on an academic level, they may have some learned helplessness where they're looking for people to help them out, and they have limited abilities when it comes to memory, generalization, motivation, and adaptive behavior. The application of the UDL in this situation, please remember, positive behavior supports when you engage these students. Provide social stories as well. Social stories where their peers, teachers, administrators all write stories on how they deal with everyday situations. Representation, self-directed learning strategies involving those social stories. And then the action and expression, pair the student with a peer. All right, let them use those social studies on a daily basis. Collect the data, and that helps you reach the targets when it comes to performance and the behavior level of a student with a learning disability. When it comes to multiple disabilities and traumatic brain injury, those social characteristics include 2% of all students. They receive special education services. Those students that are involved in special education, 2% of them have multiple disabilities or a TBI. They have significant impairments, adaptive skills, motor development, sensory functioning, communication. They have some very complex needs. On a cognitive level, they may not read, write, or communicate, and then academically, they are dependent, as you should be, dealing with these students, on a paraprofessional. When you engage these students, remember, assistive technology, so important. Their goals are going to be different as we provide person-centered planning. We've got to get these students ready to be out on their own after school is over. Allow that student to achieve their planned goal and their plans that they have made for post-graduation. When it comes to those with physical disabilities and other health impairments, remember their social characteristics. I was really surprised how many fell into this category. Everything from cerebral palsy, spina bifida, all the way to asthma. And these students can become overwhelmed. They may be hindered from full participation when it comes to physical activities or even getting around the school. And academically, they are above average IQ, but there are some that struggle due to a traumatic brain injury. The application of the UDL here, the engagement, cooperative learning, positive interdependence, individual accountability, small groups. Students can be involved in these small groups. The small group peers, great representation for them to come alive and become active in these. Action and expression, you can explore opportunities. If you have a person in a wheelchair, try to find a wheelchair basketball league for them, that according to our text. And don't forget to involve the peers and the classmates, as they can be scribes, offer support, positive reinforcement, those types of things. Those with hearing impairments, the characteristics, they have a difficult time interacting just because they cannot hear, lack of peer communication. If it's congenital or acquired, that's going to impact educational experience when it comes to hearing. Also, when it comes to visual, they may appear bored or inattentive. Remember that they need an interpreter if they're using sign language. Face the student when you are engaging that student in the classroom, writing things on the board. Make sure the student understands all the directions and requirements, and avoid the Matthew effect. The rich get richer, the poor get poorer, and the poor readers get worse if you don't work with them. Visual impairments, the characteristics here, impacts 1 to 2 students of every 1,000. The students may appear aloof or alone. Incidental learning. Wow, I had no idea how important this was till I started reading. Incredible. Want to dig deeper into that. Some of these these students with visual impairments can be gifted or talented. A large number have multiple disabilities. Adaptive materials, technology, specialized instruction, compensatory skills, learning, age-appropriate living skills, also important. Gifted and talented students, that's where we wrap things up. They can coexist with a learning disability. You may have to address both these things. They will excel in some or all subjects. 3.2 million students have been identified gifted or actually gifted or talented. Enrichment programs, acceleration, give them fluency, flexibility, originality, and elaboration and evaluation when it comes to that. We have covered them all a little bit over time, and I do apologize, but I want to thank you. What an amazing class, and I cannot wait to get into the classroom and bring this material to life. Thank you so much.